Tennessee Homestead. How in the heck are you today? Okay, well, we're getting back to homesteading on this channel. That's originally what I started it for. Got off in the bushes because of the politics. I'll still be doing politics. I've been starting to upload some stuff over the Crossroads. Once I got enough for the, y'all to go look at, I'll put a link in one of the videos to where this is going to get back to homesteading and things of this nature, raising cattle, so forth. Yeah. Get back to what I love doing. I have gotten a couple of folks talk to me about they have become unsubscribed. YouTube does that now and again, where if you're not getting notifications and you got to go out and dig around to see if I put up a video, please do resubscribe. They don't give me a list of subscribers. I have no way of tracking you. Okay, I wished I did, but I don't. I guess maybe I ought to start a newsletter and do it that way. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, you might want to check and make sure you're subscribed and hit your notification bell so you get notified, and we'll take it from there. But like I said, we're going back to homesteading and little prepping. Today I got an easy one for you. So this is really one for preparing food. So we'll go from there. Got my notes here so I don't forget anything, but I got about 20 items of foods you might not want to wash, even though I know a lot of folks that do, okay? And there's some pretty good reasons not. Let me check my notes here. When it comes to food safety, the old practice of wash before consuming is usually a pretty good idea, and it's really become ingrained in our habits. There are some exceptions to the rule, and some of them just might surprise you. I got about 20 of them here. So let's get started on this. So here's some foods that you just might not want to wash. Start off with avocados. I love avocados. Avocados because I do them up for breakfast a lot. And slice them on sandwiches and so forth. But my favorite breakfast, I'm going to give you a little recipe here. Take and have an avocado, take the seed out of it. You're going to lay them on their back, throw an egg in each hole, and sometimes put a slice of bacon on it or something like that, and sprinkle a little shredded cheese and bake it in the oven. Man, when that egg's done, you're ready. That's some good stuff right there. Makes a nice, easy breakfast and easy to clean up. Paper plate, you're keeping the egg and stuff all on the shelf. It works out good. Okay, but avocados is one you don't want to wash, because washing them will cause them to spoil faster, and they sometimes get a little mushy from it. So just if they've got something on them, take it with a paper towel or a dry cloth and just wipe them off. The next one we got here is steak. Don't wash steak, because there you're handling, if it's got any bacteria on it or anything like that, stand a chance of picking it up. If it's kind of messy coming out of the store, they got a lot of times a lot of water and stuff in the package, just go ahead and put it on a paper towel and dab it dry and go ahead and cook it. Make sure it gets the temperature it needs to get rid of all the bacteria. The next one here is eggplants. Eggplants have a waxy coating on the outside of them, which, tends to keep them well protected. Don't wash them because they can absorb the water and it gets a little mushy on the inside. So, if you have anything on it you want to get off, just take a clean cloth to it and just clean it off that way. Bananas, my favorite. I shouldn't be eating them, but I do. I usually eat the green ones. Not as sweet. If they turn yellow and so forth, then they're going into banana nut brittle, which is something else I shouldn't be eating, but I do anyway because I really love it. Bananas. Don't need to really wash them. Washing bananas can speed up the ripening process, so they won't last as long, and it can also cause mold on them. Now, what I do with bananas is the ends. I'll take a little damp cloth and stuff and wipe those ends, where the stems are at the bottom and the tops. Fruit flies sometimes get transported out of stores in those, okay? And if you wipe them off with a damp rag, it usually gets rid of the eggs and any fruit flies that are hanging around there, so you don't populate your kitchen with them. Eggs, there's another one. Eggs, the shell on an egg is porous. Wouldn't think so, but they are. And any contaminants you get on those, like let's say you got some mineral spirits or something on your hands and you're handling eggs, you can contaminate the egg, and it'll have a weird taste to it. They are porous. Best thing to do is not wash them, even though most of the eggs you buy in stores have been washed. It does cause them to spoil faster. Okay? Farm fresh eggs, you can leave them sit on the counter for 30 days, no refrigeration, no nothing, and they'll hold up just fine. I've got an old video out there. I think at one point I did one on eggs that a farm fresh egg bought right out of a hen lasts a lot longer. Okay, those are the ones you can leave set out for 30 to 60 days and you're fine. The problem with store-bought eggs is through the processing of the eggs at these factory farms, a lot of times that egg is somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 67 days old, according to the FDA, before it ever gets put in the carton. And they stamp the date based on like it was fresh coming out of the hen on that day, and it's maybe been sitting around in refrigeration and things of this nature. So unless you absolutely have to, if you're buying farm fresh eggs and you got one that's got a little manure on it or something like that, just take a damp cloth and just gently wipe off the poop. You don't eat the shell usually anyway, if you think about it. But dry paper towel or dry cloth usually takes it off. And that should take care of your eggs. Do not put the things in water. Your eggs will spoil so much faster. Buy from a farmer, get fresh eggs. They last so much longer too, and they're better for you. I did a whole video on eggs and free-range chickens and things of this nature. They are way different than the factory farm eggs. Everything about them is good. Even the carbohydrates in them are good. Factory farm, not so much. Bag salads, ready to eat. They are usually always cleaned. Not necessary to clean those salads. Matter of fact, if you've got some kind of contaminant in your sinks or in your bowl or on your hands or whatever, you can actually contaminate a good salad. So usually they're real good. If they're not, take them back to the store. I mean, if you look at the things and they're kind of brown and slimy looking through the bag, don't take that thing home with you. The prepackaged salads are cleaned fairly well, so you don't need to do any more to it, and it can actually kind of cause them to go limp and soft a little faster. This is one that shocks a lot of people. Pasta. Cooked pasta. A lot of folks have always been taught to take, and after you've cooked your pasta, to rinse it and wash it real good to get all the starch off of it, all the excess starch. That's true. It does. But when my ex-sister-in-law was staying with us for a while, she's Italian, and she says your pasta loses its flavor if you wash the starch off. And your sauces don't cling to it as well if you wash the starch off. And you could taste the difference. I went back to where I don't wash the starch off of it. My ex-wife didn't wash the starch off of it, and she was a regular starch washer. So, yeah. So leave the starch on, just cook it up and drain it off and, go from there. But yeah, they do not recommend you wash the starch off of your pasta. Washing cabbage. A lot of times folks will wash the cabbage before they store it in the refrigerator and throw it next to crisper or whatever. Not necessary, just pull off those few outside leaves, which those are normally kind of stringy anyway, and store it that way without washing it. It's just fine. If you've got a little contaminants or something on it, it'll be on those outside leaves. Tearing those off works. Because if you wash it when you store it, it's going to get mushy quick. Okay? So if you just take those outside leaves off, it stays a lot crisper and fresher, especially if you're wanting to do like coleslaw or something like that. Clean it before you cook it from any contaminants that's picked up from the refrigerator or wherever you got it stored at. Here's another one that kind of shocked me. Rice. You heard people say wash your rice and so forth. Here again, it's similar to pasta. Actually, you're going to remove a lot of the nutrients out of that rice. It's best just to go ahead and cook it, go from there with it. A lot of the pre-processed bagged rice that you buy, that's already been kind of sprayed off, but not really cleaned hard. Yeah, or the quick rice and things of that nature are all pre-washed. So that will save you a little bit. It really shocked me that you lose a lot of nutrients out of your rice when you wash it. Your root vegetables, those are best left if you've grown them in the garden and so forth, and if they've got dirt on them, like potatoes and things of this nature. It is best to just store them in a cool, dry place and do not wash them before you store them. It will expedite the spoiling of the vegetable. Leave the dirt on it, put it down in your root cellar or your basement or some cool, dry place, and let it go. A dark environment. This is the real catcher. A darker environment keeps those carrots and turnips and potatoes and so forth crispy and fresh longer. So find yourself a dark corner of your basement, or if you got a root cellar, use that. Otherwise, find a dark spot in the closet that doesn't have a lot of heat going to it, and it really will help you out. It'll last a lot longer. Just throw them in a box, and then you just grab them out of the box as you need them. But do not wash them in advance. It will cause them to go bad fast. Okay? Okay, onions. Onions. You don't want to wash an onion and store it. You ever seen them? In the stores, a lot of times they go through and they spray the things. If you look at them, you'll see that they're sprouting again. Okay? It does expedite the crispness. And, just store it in a cool, dry place, probably somewhere in the area where you keep your root vegetable. Works out just fine, but try to avoid washing them. If you grow them in your own garden, just don't wash them. Take them out of the garden, store it with your other stuff. Berries, blackberries, blueberries, all that sort of stuff. Don't wash them. Okay, don't wash them. You just want to go ahead, because what it does, it absorbs that moisture, and it can cause mold to grow in them, especially in blackberries and raspberries, things like that. So you won't see it, but it's okay. If you have it, you're going to munch on it. But wait to wash your berries. Put them in a breathable container, something that's got a little air on them. Put a paper towel down in the bottom of it, a couple paper towels in the bottom of it to absorb any excess moisture that comes off the berries. And you're good to go. Before you eat them, wash them then, okay? And just wash whatever you're planning to eat. But otherwise, it causes the berries to go bad sooner, that washing stuff. Plus, if you think about it for 30 seconds, if you're living in an urban area where you got city water, that stuff's not too hot to start with. I run bottled water here because the city water is nasty. And it's not a bad idea to run some of the bottled water, okay, because God knows what kind of contaminations most city waters have, okay? Fresh herbs. There's another thing that, if you're growing some herbs around your place and so forth, you've probably read all this about it, but washing them can promote growth of mold. They recommend that you just go ahead and trim the stems, and it'll also cause them to wilt faster, by the way, but just trim the stems. If you're going to be using them shortly, they say put them in a container of water, glass of water, jar, something, and just stick them in your refrigerator. Otherwise, you can store them in oil or dry them, which a lot of people do. They dry their herbs for sprinkling in the food and so forth. Dry herbs last the longest, so might be something to do. Not a big herb man myself, but so I didn't fool that I had to look this one up. All right. Nuts. I have never seen anybody washing nuts before. Okay, I really haven't. But they do say that it's not good to wash nuts. Just wipe the shells off with a dry rag and call it done. Okay. So they don't recommend washing nuts at all. The chicken. Okay, won't get into that too overly deep. As we all know, take precaution in chickens. You got salmonella and so forth. Be careful because your washing process can spread that. Okay, your best safety is to. I do it myself. I rinse chicken off. I always wear some little rubber gloves. But cooking chicken properly is the best way to get rid of all the bacteria. But you can spread bacteria around in your sink or countertop or wherever you're working. So be careful of that and make sure you clean it up really well. And in handling chicken, those store-bought packages, those things leak all over the place. Not a good idea to keep it in it. put them in a small Tupperware, a Tupperware container that can hold it. Okay. If you're gonna wash it, that'd be a good time to do it. Wash it, get it good and clean, put it in Tupperware, and then when you get to go to use it, rinse it off again, and then go ahead and cook it. Another food that you never really want to wash is like garlic. Treat it kind of like a root vegetable. It's got usually outside skin you peel off to get rid of any dirt or something of that nature. But I would leave it intact and put it in the area of your root vegetables. It'll last a lot longer. It will absorb a lot of moisture and cause your garlic to go bad quickly. Taught that by an Italian girl that was hanging out at our house for a while. Okay, next one, dried mushrooms. Don't wash those. One, they're going to soak up all that moisture like a sponge, man. And it's going to lose all of its flavor. So kind of defeats you having dry mushrooms. So dry mushrooms, do not wash those things. Okay. There is a difference between washing and rehydrating. If you're going to rehydrate them, you want to soak them in a pan of hot water and stuff and rehydrate them. And I bet you never thought of bacon. Yeah, it's been known to be washed. It makes it kind of soggy because it does absorb it in because they're partially dried meat. And it doesn't ever really get, if you like crispy bacon, forget it. It's not going to get crispy. It's going to be like a limp rag. So the best way to deal with bacon, if you're wanting to kind of clean it up a little bit, use a paper towel, lay it out, put the bacon on there, and kind of pat it dry. Alrighty, the next one here is whole grains. Don't wash them. Okay, it can cause them to lose their protective if you're storing them, especially. If you're storing them for any length of time, it can cause them to go soft and get kind of ugh. So you might want to stay away from that. Otherwise, just go ahead and store them in a container in a dry place, and away from pests and so forth, and only rinse them before cooking. Okay. Otherwise, they're not gonna last long with you. Washing fruits and vegetables. There's another one. Okay. Yeah, always good. Not a problem. Okay. Most fruits and vegetables can be washed and so forth. I usually wait to wash my vegetables and stuff when you're going to use them. Okay. Because some do have more porous rinds and so forth. But your fruits and vegetables you're going to eat right away or something of that nature, go ahead and wash them up when you bring them in from the garden. Not a problem with that at all. Okay. Little dirt never kills anybody. Matter of fact, I had heard some doctors talking one time, and they were saying that that's a lot of the problem with kids today with the allergies. We grew up eating dirt. I mean, we'd drop a sucker on the sidewalk, pick it up, and stick it back in our mouths. Kids today, their parents would have a heart attack seeing them do something like that. Dirt kind of gets you used to your environment, kind of like eating honey. Native honey from your area kind of helps you out. Well, little contaminant in your food is not going to kill you. Most fun I ever had was with my granddaughter. She was down and we were gathering up some turnip greens for supper. And so we went out and cut them and stuff, and I took them put them in the sink to start washing them. And she says, well, what are you doing? Are they dirty? I go, well, probably a little bit, but mostly I want to get the bugs out of them. And that freaked her out. There's bugs in there? Oh, yeah. So greens and stuff like that, you do want to take care of it. So next time you reach out and grab an eggplant or a mushroom, just try to remember a little dirt never hurt anybody. This is my list. You folks may have some more, and if you have some that you found don't do that with, stick them in the comments. I'm sure everybody would enjoy having a more complete list and educate myself a little bit too. Hope you guys are having a great, wonderful week. This is a lot more fun, and it's more useful too. Hope you guys are having a great week. This is Rick, Tennessee Homestead. Love you guys, appreciate you, and do take care.